Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the Jimmy Carter of board game review shows. Hidden Trade of Mechanics are our friend. No, that was stupid. We're not the Jimmy Carter of anything. No, scratch that. Can we do that over? All right, just go on. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at a game that's all about peace, love, caring, and understanding. I am, of course, talking about Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne from Fantasy Flight Games. In Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne from Fantasy Flight Games, 3 to 5 players are attempting to spread their influence to other players throughout the game. Now this, of course, is based on the HBO TV series. The components contain the photographs from the series rather than art that we see in some of the other Fantasy Flight Games, Game of Thrones games. Wow, that was a lot of games in one sentence. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this game is very unusual, but it's also very familiar because, of course, it is based on Cosmic Encounter. More on that later. But in a nutshell, here's how you play the game. 3 to 5 players take on one of the great houses of Westeros. Of course, you can play the Starks, the Lannisters, the Tyrells, the Baratheons, or even those kooky Targaryens. Now, essentially, in the middle of the table, you're going to have kind of a pie that has kind of your symbol on it, your house symbol on it, and 5 of your influence tokens. Now, you put these together, and over the course of the game, what you're trying to do is spread your influence tokens to other houses in order to win the game. Once you have no influence tokens on your house, of your own house tokens, you win the game. So how do you do that? Well, very simple. At the beginning of the game, the first player is going to draw a card off of kind of a deck. He becomes the challenger, and he draws this card which says which house he is going to have a confrontation with, an encounter with. If he draws his own, then he can choose any other house. There's also some power cards that maybe say, you know, the player with this is who you're going after, the player with that is who you're going after. But once you've determined who you're going after, then you pick a character. Now you have 5 characters. You have, of course, your leader that you choose at the beginning of the game. You take, I think you got like 5 or 6 leader cards, and what you're going to do is take 2 of those randomly and then select which one you want. That's your leader. But you've also got 5 other characters, or 4 other characters. And these other characters are different characters, again, from the Game of Thrones TV show. And what you're going to do is select one of those to be your attacker. So you kind of slide it forward slightly and turn it to the attacking side. Now, each of the characters has 4 crowns at the beginning, and your leader has 4 crowns. That's kind of their strength. It's kind of their health and how powerful they are. When you select your person to move forward, then the defender, who you are attacking, they slide one of their characters forward, and they turn it to the defense side. Then what you do is you go, and each player who is not participating in that combat, who is not one of the active players, the challenger or the defender, they get to decide, are they going to stay out of it, are they going to support the challenger, or are they going to support the defender? They move one of their characters and turn it to either the support side or the defender side. So each player is going to pick a house card, they're going to put it face down, and they're going to flip it over at the same time. Now, there are 3 possibilities that can happen here. 1, you both picked, essentially, hostility cards. These are cards with numbers that you then add to the number of crowns you've got and everybody that's supporting you has got. And then you just add numbers there. Both people do that. It's just a numbers game. You may each select a truce card. Now, a truce card essentially says, we're not going to fight. We're going to come to some peaceful accommodation. You have to agree to trade something or to help each other with something. You have to come to some kind of an accommodation. If you don't, then you're both kind of screwed. Finally, you have a betrayal. A betrayal is when one of you plays a truce card, thinking you're going to be friendly, and the other one plays a hostility card. Now, no matter how much power the defender may have, the attacker, the challenger, is going to win in that scenario because he betrayed the truce. However, it's not without problems because that player, the defender gets to take, or the loser, I should say, rather, in that instance, is going to take a hostage from the winner. More on that later. Now, depending on what the outcome is, different things are going to happen. If you're the winner of the scenario, you and everybody on the alliance that was with you gets to place one of your influence on to one of the losers' pieces of their pie chart there. They can go ahead and move those. If you were on if you were a defender and you won, you go ahead and you get to draw a couple of more house cards, and there's no limit to your hand size, and then you can like redistribute some of your power from your leader to some of your characters. A few other things that can happen there depending on exactly how that encounter played out. Now, as far as hostages go, if you take a hostage, this gives you some leverage because you have the option of killing that hostage or returning that hostage and tormenting them. Essentially, this is going to take away power from your other guy, either temporarily or permanently, depending on if it's their leader or if it's one of their characters. There's some other things here, but the hostage cards give you leverage over the other houses. And so that way you can kind of say, you need to support me or this guy goes bye-bye. So it adds a kind of a new dynamic to this kind of system here. So again, you go around and around having these encounters until one or more of you, because you can't have a simultaneous victory, get all 5 of your influence tokens off of your own section of the pie and onto other people's. And then you win the game. Now, as I said, Game of Thrones, The Iron Throne, is loosely based on Cosmic Encounter. It was designed by many of the fellows who created Cosmic Encounter. Cosmic Encounter essentially is just like this game in a lot of respects. There are a few subtle differences here and there, but it is kind of a generic science fiction world, whereas this, of course, is tied in with the Game of Thrones IP, so it's probably just going to sell a lot of copies on that alone. Now, the game is, first of all about negotiation. It's a negotiating game where you are constantly trying to convince people to support you when you are attacking or you are being attacked. You're trying to do this, of course, obviously, to save your own skin, but you're trying to make the best arguments and get these people to support you. But even as you get closer and closer to getting all 5 of your pieces off your board, people are less inclined to do so. So there's some real skill there in negotiating those things. Now, you also have the various cards, also have character cards. And these character cards correspond to your characters you've got out there, and you can only play them when those are the characters in play. But they have all sorts of funky text abilities. They're not necessarily going to contribute to your power directly, but they're going to give you a lot of other kinds of advantages. You also have your leader has a certain kind of advantage as well that can allow you to do some very, very important and interesting things. So there's a lot of variation. There's a lot of variety. There's a lot of, I don't want to say random things that pop up, but a lot of very interesting and fun and kooky things you don't see coming, especially when you're new to the game. Now, the game, as I say, is almost entirely negotiation, and that is very cool. If you like The Discriminating Gamer, you know I love negotiation. It's my favorite mechanic in games. I love games where you negotiate. And this game is really quite simple. It's not a difficult game. Now, occasionally there were some timing issues where we had to refer to the rule book, but I mean, generally it's not a hard game to learn and to play. It's pretty straightforward. Now, with regard to Cosmic Encounter, Cosmic Encounter is one of those games that I've been hearing for years is just fantastic. Tom Vasil at the Dice Tower, it's his favorite game. So I figured I better pick it up and play it. So I actually broke down and bought the game earlier this year, and I played it, and I liked it. But it didn't wow me like I was expecting it to, listening to some of these other people go on and on about it. I really liked the game, I just did not love the game. And consequently, I was a little disappointed with it. But I liked it. It was a good game. Playing The Iron Throne, first of all, I'm a big fan of the IP. I love Game of Thrones. I prefer the books to the TV show. The TV show is good. I mean, it's a good interpretation of it. I thought the first season was quite good, and I thought ever since then it kind of got further and further away from the books. It kind of lost me. I still like it. I'm still watching it, but I'm not as enamored with it as I am with the books. I think they're brilliant. At least the first 3 kind of go downhill after that. But anyway, I really like the IP, and so I was really drawn into this. And I think the IP fits so well because if you know the books, if you know the TV show, it is all about backstabbing. It is all about betrayal. It is all about negotiation. And the theme in that sense works really, really well here. It's not thematic in a lot of ways because, as we know, the system works with the generic science fiction system from Cosmic Encounter, but nevertheless, that theme of betrayal is very, very well done in this game. I'm just going to say it, because of the IP, and maybe too because it just seemed a little more straightforward to me in the Cosmic Encounter, I actually prefer the Iron Throne to Cosmic Encounter. I think it's a superior game, at least for me. And maybe that's just more of a taste thing. Maybe I can't say objectively it's a superior game, but I liked it better. I had more fun with the Iron Throne than I did with Cosmic Encounter. Really liked it. It was a whole lot of fun. So again, Discriminating Gamer is going to say Fantasy Flight hits it out of the park again, and go ahead and buy Game of Thrones The Iron Throne. If you like the IP, even if you don't like the IP, you'll like this game. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, I ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer, and it may be Game of Thrones, but I find when I play The Iron Throne, it should be called Game of Groans, because every time I ask people to support me and they don't, literally, that's what I do.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Jackie! Yeah!
Cody?